It's just always been a part of our life, the church has here. I think when people think of Fairview, Fairview Church is one of the first things they think of.
Fairview holds a very active spot in the life of the county. Lots of traffic go by the church currently. The part of Blount County that's seeing an extended amount of growth has been along Old Niles Ferry. And so in many ways, this is a part of the hub of Blount County. Lots of folks know where Fairview is because of the businesses and the community activities that bring folk to this part of the county.
It's had a big impact in this community and actually around the world. The missions is such a big part of this congregation. So not only it's in Blount County, but it is literally all over the world.
I went to the website when I was preparing to apply for the job here, and I saw how important missions was at this church. They had on the website at that time, there was a site for every place that the church visited regularly. And I was amazed that there were like 6 or 7 different places that this church visited regularly, and I thought that would be fantastic to be a part of a church that's involved in missions internationally so much.
There are so many things going on here at Fairview, and I've had the privilege of being on some different committees and also volunteering in the office. I work every Thursday here, and I just enjoy being involved in the work of the church.
It's always been a friendly church and a helping church. There's always been people, whatever they needed, they felt free to come to the church and ask for help. And the people have always been helpful and spread the word of God around through the community.
Well, we're people that love people. We're people who want to share the gospel and word and deed with those folks who are around about us. We want to be a church that goes, not a church that just waits for people to come. We want to be a people who impact the lives of our community, from the least to those who are seeking spiritual information and formation and want to investigate the claims of Christ. And so we hope that we're a church that truly loves in word as well as in deed, touching Blount County, making Blount County a better place to raise your children, a better place to grow and mature and to become an adult, and a great place to spend your life raising your family and then growing old. And Blount County's not a bad place to die. It's a beautiful spot in God's creation. Lots of history here. And it's good to be a part of something that's living and alive and growing and is serving to make an impact on the lives of not only the Fairview community, but the whole of Blount County and this East Tennessee region. And remember, people come to these great mountains because the Cherokee said it all began right here. So it's not bad to have one foot in the beginning and another foot in the present history.
Well, it's been really the spark plug of the community always.
Of course, the growth has been phenomenal. When I first remember Fairview, we have a picture of the membership, and it's probably 50 to 60 people. And as the new people come in, I'm amazed at the talents that come in with it. And our church is able to do so many more things than it was when I was growing up, because there were a few families who had to try to do it all.
With the growth, you can add new staff members. You can add an associate pastor, which small churches can't do, but and minister of music and all those things that help you. If you grow, you can add more people to your staff and reach more people.
It's not the same group of people, but they all seem to have the same Christian ideals.
At one time, there was over 2,000 people in attendance at this camp meeting on a regular basis. They came and they stayed here because they were hungry to hear what could bring peace within their lives. A war had shattered this region. And there were families that were divided between the north and the south. And this community had been rocked and rolled and put asunder. And there needed to be an element of unity and peace restored to these beautiful hills where the Cherokee declared the creation.
There's a commitment that is basic, and that commitment is a love of Christ. We ask our folks to genuinely be committed to being a people who worship together on a regular basis, who pray together, who serve together, who tithe and give together, and who are willing to give a witness. And a common commitment is that thread that runs through. And Fairview's always been a local church that wanted to reach out, was open, and prayed that it was warm and welcoming, and that people would want to come and be a part. As a pastor and part of this community, it's been, you have to work diligently to become smaller as you become bigger. And so the idea is to remain in small groups where people have relationships that are meaningful and intimate, while you have to continue to invite people in. The life of the local church, we do not have the privilege of putting a sign that says full, no vacancies. We want to have doors always open and say always people are welcome. And as they are made welcome, we pray that they will find their place, be a part of a small group, and become a part of a fellowship wherein they are known as they begin to know others.
Everyone here is so accepting of new people. And we have, even though it's a large church, it has a small church atmosphere sometimes because of the way we interact with each other. We have small groups that consist maybe of 10 or 12 that meet weekly or however they decide to meet, that are just a close-knit group. They pray together, they care about each other, and that helps keep a large church with a small church focus.
We've never lost the sense of a small church, but just with a lot of people.
When you have a larger congregation, it's real important that you just not come to worship. What I've seen when people just come to worship and not get plugged into smaller groups or smaller ministries, they tend to leave easier and faster than someone who's getting plugged in. Once you get into a small group, you get to become part of the family at Fairview, and I think growth really happens that way when you get really knit together with the other people here.
The people oftentimes that I get to know most are the people who are serving in the children's ministry. So those personal relationships that I've developed with the youth and adults who serve in the children's ministry, and then just great little moments with the kids as well, will stick with me. I think just the memories that I built in working on this staff will be big. Just all the times that we've laughed about things and groaned about things and everything in between.
Well, it's a great place. The people are wonderful, and as a pastor, it's a great joy to see the church mature and grow and become involved in ministries and the lives of the community here locally, and also its involvement in ministry around the world. And so Fairview's a great church.
I can remember in the little white church when we first started going there, we didn't have Sunday school rooms. It was just a one-room church.
I was born into this church. I've been here 74 years. My dad was actually doing a lot of construction, which a lot of the members did at that time, and I would play around on the church yard while he was building the church.
The membership did a lot of the work in the early days before we had the insurance problem of liability. The people actually could do a lot of the hands-on work. So there's a lot of memories of people putting sweat equity into building their church and forming community as they did so, not only worshiping but serving the community as well as doing things together.
I've been at Fairview 17 years, but it has had a big impact on my life. And my wife and I and our children have been a part of this church. They were born into this congregation, so they don't know another place. I consider Fairview my family.
Well, when I first started coming to Fairview, our choir, a good Sunday, we probably would have 20, 25 people in the choir. Now, every Sunday, we have probably an average choir would be around 75. It's grown, and the enthusiasm that we have in the music and the worship that's mainly been generated through our minister of music, Wesley Rouse, and it's just a great time of fellowship and worship.
The adult choir really is the energy in our worship services. It is a big mix of people from young to old. I have someone in there from 16 to people in their 80s, and it is really a melting pot of generations. And for this congregation, it really drives worship, and it really energizes worship to have all these people singing and worshiping, leading the congregation.
Praise God from
Now that I've been here a while, I can look back and see how much I enjoyed the worship music. That would definitely be a draw to me. And also our special needs ministry is unique. It's very unique to have a special needs ministry, so that's a big draw here too.
One of the highlights of memory are pictures. And a picture is a community at work and in ministry serving others, like the food pantry, where people who are in need of food and help have a chance to go, but it's also seeing the church in ministry together, like Heritage Sunday, where we'll have well over 1,000 people having lunch and worshiping together. Memories that I have is upward basketball with the young people and children playing, a great youth group, the youth choir. Those are all memories, and it's hard to pick one when it's almost a collage of memories that bring joy. It's an intergenerational church with children, young people, middle-aged couples as well as older couples, like Irene Huff, who's been here all her life. In fact, her parents were some of the earliest members.
Well, according to my job description, my responsibilities are to kind of shepherd and lead the children of our church and to be in communication with parents. But I feel like over time, that has changed somewhat, so that not only am I working with the children, but I'm really working with the parents a lot more too, because they have even more of a direct impact on the faith of their children than I do. One of the things that has been a concerted effort is to be equipping younger leaders, and I see that in Wesley's ministry and working with worship. He's got several folks that are taking on leadership roles, and in the children's ministry, we're trying to do the same thing, have more youth and college-age students taking leadership in that area of ministry. And then even in our youth ministry, I think they're more active in leading things like their retreats and So that's one thing I feel like has grown over the last few years.
The youth choir ministry has just blessed my life. For 17 years, we go out every summer. We take our youth choir to an inner city ministry to minister, and the kids sing 2 or 3 times a day. And I've seen so many lives impacted by those kids. I'm singing at juvenile detention centers, homeless shelters, and that type of thing. The kids have blessed a lot of people across the country through that ministry.
We've just recently completed a book that I've done a little bit of the research on, but they've really researched the Fairview Church, and it's gone back to its very beginning. And with the old pictures of the first church, the second church, the third church, and interesting stories of people that helped start this church and the sacrifices they made and so forth. So what I know of the first churches are stories that I've heard.
I discovered a lot of history. I don't know how one goes about creating history except to be a part of how time rolls along in a chronological sense. But there are lots of marks in the church that I remember over these 20 years and seeing the church. Also, you might be interested, I was able to find a brick from the very first white church foundation. And we have a box that's out in the Northex that holds a piece of stone from that first footer, and then another stone from the second church, and a stone from the third, and then a brick from this current building, the new building that we're located in now. So we have seen a footprint, and we're able to collect those. And of course, every year we tell the story over and over to the children, because the new children only remember the current building.
Well, it's always been part of our life. When you grow up in a church, and Bob and I married in that church, it just has so many memories.
We do have the Bible. I have in my possession the Bible that came out of the old church. My family, apparently, from what I can gather, my great-great-granddaddy had bought the Bible and given it to the church. And they had a fire or something, but my granddaddy had it out at the time, and so it stayed in. And the reason I say it was our family Bible, it has all of our family marriage records, death, births, and all of that in it. But we still have that, which will be at the homecoming, or at the 100-year celebration at the campground this Sunday.
I can hear joy bells ringing, the joy bells ringing for my friends and loved ones wait. I can hear the angels singing just inside those pearly gates. I can hear my Savior calling, saying, come unto me, wash away your sins forever, and you shall rest eternally. Oh, I can hear joy bells ringing, the joy bells ringing for my friends and loved ones wait. Oh, I can hear the angels singing just inside those pearly gates. Now I'm safe with my Jesus. He will guide
Another ministry that's meant a lot to me is the Faithful Men. Faithful Men go to Latvia every 2 years, and that small country in Northern Europe has just blessed our lives, the church there. And that's become a big part of my life too.
In order for Fairview to be a really vital congregation that serves and reaches out for a long time, that we're going to need to make some pretty fundamental changes here. We'll be able to keep the things that are good, but I think we're gonna need to kind of start from scratch on some things and renew what we're doing so that the church can grow and reach out in a fresh way. I think, it's only natural that after a while, old methods don't continue to work. You need to use new methods to reach newer generations and newer people.
Come and find your place to serve. There's a place for everything. There's everything that goes through this church, everything goes on that you can think of. And even if you have a new ministry that you want to start, we'll help you start it. But just come join us and see if this is where you fit.
I think that Fairview is in a position, and with the resources that we have, both with our building and other facilities and things like that, that we have a great potential to have a big impact for a long time. We shouldn't take that for granted as a congregation, but we have a lot of resources and great people, so I'm very hopeful about a very strong future for Fairview.